Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning, 7 a.m. on this Sunday, on this Mother's Day. Meteorologist Amy Aronson here, and we're off to a cloudy start this morning, but at least the rain is gone, so things are looking up as we head through your Mother's Day. We're off to a comfortable start this morning. In wake of the rain, temperatures are currently hanging out in the low 60s, mid 50s right now, so a refreshing start to the day. A little bit of fog in low-lying areas, and especially well west of here, but locally it looks like we're in pretty good shape for whatever you're doing to celebrate Mom this morning. If we take a look at what's happening on the weather map, we can see our latest weather maker that sent us all that rain yesterday has pushed to our south. Coming in behind it, some drier air. I am tracking a dense fog advisory, but for extreme western Maryland, not the case in the Baltimore area. So we're not really worried about fog here just now, but we are looking at some overcast skies to start off the day. Eventually the clouds will clear, make way for sun, and that's going to allow us to enjoy a pretty nice Sunday. Upper 50s to get things started as we near lunch and brunch time, mid 70s. Also, Orioles first pitch at 1 o'clock looks great for that with temperatures in the low to mid 70s. As we head through the rest of the afternoon, we'll spend the day in the 70s too. And then tonight, a mild one. Temperatures will dip back into the low 60s. Monday starts off on a dry note, so back to work, back to school, no issues here. Little cool to start. We're in the 40s and low 50s to begin. As we roll through the afternoon, another nice warm day. The 70s are on tap again. We'll spend the day in the mid and upper 70s on Monday. As we head into Tuesday, though, that's when our next weather maker arrives. Not a big one. Weak little disturbance here. We'll send us some showers starting at daybreak on Tuesday. On and off showers as we head through midday on Tuesday, and then showers will wrap up Tuesday afternoon. But today, no need to worry about any rain as you celebrate Mom. We've got mid and upper 70s this afternoon. Feels really nice and warm this afternoon with a mix of clouds and sun. So absolutely no issues today. Tonight for grilling plans, similar setup. We'll start off in the low 70s, pretty comfy even after sunset, with temperatures cooling off back into the 60s at that point. Now, next weekend is Preakness. Our eyes are already on the forecast. Right now, it looks like that's another weather maker coming through. Spotty showers show up on Friday for Black-Eyed Susan events with temperatures in the mid-70s. Preakness does not look like a washout right now. Just if you're planning ahead, I'd have the rain jacket, the umbrella on standby. Looks like we could see some scattered showers for that, but at least it's going to be warm with temperatures in the mid-70s. And if you're heading out to Preakness next weekend, we want to see your pictures. Make sure you send them to us, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in. Leading up to that, we've got a pretty quiet week ahead of us with the exception of Tuesday. So we've got lots of 70s on the way this week. We do have that weather maker moving through on Tuesday, sending us a chance for some scattered showers. Behind that, little brief cool down there Wednesday into Thursday. We'll be close to 70 on Wednesday, upper 60s on Thursday. As we head through the end of the weekend near Preakness, that's when we are tracking that next weather maker. Plan on some spotty showers showing up by week's end on Friday with temperatures in the mid-70s. And it looks like by Saturday, showers become a little more scattered. Not a washout as of now, but certainly something we'll keep a watchful eye on with temperatures in the mid-70s.
Families of victims killed by gun violence, lighting candles and calling for peace.
It's hard to think of any place left in our society that has not been in one form or another scarred by gun violence.
One of those victims laid to rest Saturday, Fabian Sanchez Gonzalez, killed during an armed robbery at T-Mobile in Canton.
I miss my brother every single day, every second.
His accused killer, 18-year-old Arthur McCayton, and his accomplice, his 14-year-old brother. One of the latest violent crimes committed by juveniles, sounding the alarm at City Hall.
We're seeing the spike in youth violence across the city.
According to BPD, the spike in numbers for the year is astounding, especially when it comes to homicides.
The 67% increase in youth homicides, 55% in youth shootings.
10 juveniles have been arrested for homicide, all between the ages of 10 and 17, each with seemingly easy access to guns.
I believe 8 of the 10 homicides involve gun violence.
And it's not just homicides and shootings seeing an increase. So far, 37 juveniles have been arrested for street robbery, 68 for assault, and 7 for carjacking, including 12-year-old Jalen Richards, on house arrest for that crime, according to his grandmother, when he was gunned down last month with an assault rifle.
Jalen don't know how to drive. He was just hanging along for the ride.
But the most troubling number could be the amount of teens charged with crimes so brazen they're charged as adults.
We have one 14-year-old this year that was charged, 4 15-year-olds, 30 16-year-olds, and 40 17-year-olds.
Adding it up, That's 75 Baltimore City youth charged with capital crimes.
As juvenile violence spikes across Baltimore City, will a youth curfew set to go into effect Memorial Day weekend help curb the violence?
We will be enforcing the youth curfew.
The mayor announced the curfew on Easter after 2 teenagers were shot at the Inner Harbor, but he's been vague on the details of exactly how it will work.
And Memorial Day is when it will start, and Memorial Day is when we'll be showing everybody what we're and how we're going to be doing, and doing it in a more evolved way than we have before.
On WBAL's C4 and Brian Neiman show this week, he was pressed for answers yet again.
So how will it be enforced, and when will it go into effect?
We're going to do the enforcement with youth curfew, building off the success that we had with the Squeezy Collaborative, with the same kind of dual approach.
But still was tight-lipped on just how it will be enforced.
Will a cop be able to go up to a teenager and say, hey, you don't look like you're 18. You're going to have to get off the street. Is that going to be allowed?
Okay. Yes. Okay. But if anyone's thinking that this is just about like going out and saying, oh, young person, you can't be there. It is, but it's much more than that. And folks have been trying to simplify it, thinking it, as you said, it's going to be the end-all be-all, and nothing's the end-all be-all.
Sergeant Betsy Smith, spokeswoman for the National Police Association, says juvenile crime is spiking across the nation.
There's a couple of reasons. One goes back to the COVID lockdowns, where teenagers, young people were largely unsupervised. We also see, again, the vilification of law enforcement, where young people are told police are bad. And by the way, don't be afraid of the police. Don't be afraid to do things wrong.
She's not the only person skeptical a curfew will work.
Well, it's kind of like gun-free zones. Who reads the gun-free zone signs and says, I'll put my legal gun away? Legal gun owners. So people who are likely to commit crimes are not likely to pay attention to curfews.
And with police operating at a shortage of more than 500 officers, she questions if this is the time to put more work on their plates.
Do you have enough police officers to be able to, enforce curfew laws when you don't have enough police officers to even investigate homicides?
7:07 on this Sunday morning on this Mother's Day. Now is the time we typically give you the green light to start gardening here in Maryland. And today, if you want to knock it out, go for it. But if you want to hold off until Monday, mostly dry then too, getting the green light on Monday. Tuesday is the only day I would avoid early in the week because we are tracking some showers at that point, so not the best day for any yard work. Come Wednesday, it's going to be dry and pleasant again and also nice and comfortable. So another day to get out in the yard and start planting that garden. I know I have to start working on mine this week too. So we are looking at a nice day out there. We've got some sun breaking through the clouds right now. We are saying goodbye to all that rain from yesterday. Starting off comfortable this morning, near 60 to start. We end up in the mid-70s today, so a nice warm and dry end to the weekend. I'm tracking that next round of spotty showers come Tuesday, and then another round of rain by the very end of the week, heading, unfortunately, into Preakness weekend too. So a couple of weather makers we're keeping a watchful eye on. Right now, we've got one off to our west. That's what's going to scoot through here on Tuesday. We've got one to our south. That's what actually moved through yesterday, setting us that rain. That has moved on. Coming in behind it, we're seeing some clouds this morning, but we should see some drying here as we head through the second half of the day. On future scan, we'll notice temperatures warm nicely into the mid-70s this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine to enjoy whatever you want to enjoy outside, maybe brunch or lunch or an early dinner with mom. Temperatures in the mid-70s at that point. As we head through your Sunday night and your Monday morning, no real changes. Smooth sailing here as we get into Monday morning. Couple of clouds press through, but that's about it. Refreshing to start off your Monday, but I would break out the jackets again. We've got mid and upper 40s and low 50s to start, so a little cool to begin. Monday afternoon, bright, sunny, and actually nice and warm too, with highs ending up in the upper 60s. We do have our next batch of showers rushing through on Tuesday. Some showers at that point, and that's going to briefly cool us down. If your Mother's Day plans take you out to the ballpark, a beautiful day at Camden Yards. We've got low 70s at first pitch, mid 70s to wrap things up. Just a really nice day unfolding. And the week as a whole looks pretty nice. Yes, we'll see some scattered showers on Tuesday. We're a little cooler Wednesday and Thursday, but it looks like the next real weather maker we're tracking comes Friday into Saturday. We've got more weather updates and news coming up after this quick break.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Get your leg out. Now. A bizarre scene in Ohio as police find a man hiding inside a dryer during a drug bust. That man says he has too many warrants and just didn't want police to find him. And he's not the only one with the strange hiding place. Police found another man hiding under the stars, a woman in the attic, and they're all now facing drug possession charges. 7 people were arrested in all. President Biden giving a commencement address at Howard University. Just ahead, what he said about Republicans fighting against student debt relief. And a former Baltimore mayor says it's time for the city school CEO to step down. Still ahead this morning, the changes she thinks should be made to improve your children's education. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Former Mayor Sheila Dixon's calling for a new leader of Baltimore City Schools. As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps reports, Dixon says the results are simply not there, and it's time for Dr. Sonia Santelises to go.
It's now been 13 years since Sheila Dixon was mayor of Baltimore. Since leaving office, she has watched her city become one of the most violent and fastest shrinking. With 569,000 residents, Baltimore's population is down 50,000 since 2010. And according to Dixon, the reason people are leaving is simple.
People can say it's because of crime, but the biggest thing is because of education. People want the best education for their children.
And Dixon says families are not receiving that from Baltimore City schools.
If you were mayor right now, what's the first thing you would do with the school system?
If I were mayor right now, the first thing that I would do with the school system would be to bring in all of the various unions, the administration, sit down at a table and ask some hard questions. What are we going to do to change this?
Dixon says when she was mayor, every month she had a meeting with school leaders, the CEOs, school board members, and unions. She said she learned about the challenges and worked on solutions. But she says these meetings also let the school leaders know the mayor was watching.
The fact that Baltimore City provides funding to Baltimore City schools, we have a responsibility to make the schools accountable.
It's difficult to compare Baltimore City schools now to when Dixon was mayor. A lot has changed in the city and the school system itself, including changes in graduation requirements and state testing. Here's what we do know. During Dixon's term, Baltimore City Schools was one of the lowest performing large school systems in America, just like it is today. But it was showing signs of improvement.
From 2007 to 2010, when Dixon was mayor, key metrics like enrollment and graduation rates were increasing. Compare that to today. Most key metrics are going in the wrong direction. Over the last 5 years, enrollment is down 3,000 students. Graduation rates are down from 72% to 68%. And when it comes to student performance, federal test scores have dropped since Dixon's term. According to the nation's report card, students performed better in both 4th and 8th grade math and reading in 2009 compared to 2022.
Money's important, but accountability is also just as important. You can't keep putting money into a bad system and not have accountability and show results.
Dixon believes Baltimore City needs to rethink education. She favors year-round schooling and longer school days. With 58% of city students chronically absent, the most in the state, Dixon says schools need to work directly with families to get students in class.
Anytime you have to stimulate a parent or guardian to get their child to school, something's wrong.
And according to Dixon, there's one more big change that city schools needs to make, and it involves CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises. Current Mayor Brandon Scott strongly supports Dr. Santelises, but Dixon says the results are not there. It's time for her to go.
I think there needs to be some changes in leadership because of all the challenges and the results that we're seeing in the schools. I think it's time. I think she's a nice, wonderful person. I think we do need to have a change.
I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
All right, today's Mother's Day, but some people got started a little early yesterday. The Case Cares Foundation put on a Mother's Day tea party in Baltimore, celebrating all the mothers who care for their critically ill children. The event drew about 100 people and included a special brunch for activities and the kids. And how about some Mother's Day smiles? Lisa Oates shared this picture with us, wishing a very happy Mother's Day to her mom and her daughter. And Karen Logan sent us this one of her best wishes to her mother. We want to see how you're celebrating Mother's Day today. Go ahead and send us your pictures and videos through Chime In feature on our FOX45 website or through the WBFF app. And hopefully we're having some good weather today for Mother's Day. Meteorologist Amy Aronson with the update.
Yeah, much better than yesterday. The rain is gone. The sun's going to return. We're going to brighten things up. We're starting off a little cloudy this morning, looking down at Towson right now, but not bad for a Sunday morning. We're off to a dry start with upper 50s and low 60s. So actually pretty comfy, too, as you get your day started. That weather maker that sent us the damp and dreary conditions yesterday has settled to our south. Coming in behind it, not much of anything. I'm tracking a little bit of fog, but well west of here this morning. That's where we find that dense fog advisory in place until 9 a.m. For us, we're just tracking some morning clouds, but eventually that should give way to some sun. Making way for a really nice Mother's Day. If you plan to have brunch or lunch or an early dinner outside, you're in good shape. We've got lots of sunshine today. Temperatures will end up in the very warm mid and upper 70s this afternoon. Tonight for grilling plans, same setup. We stay dry up through sunset. We'll be in the low 70s. After that, temperatures will cool back down into the mid 60s for the remainder of the night. Now let's talk about next weekend, because next weekend is when we are tracking our next chance for some rain. We've got a new weather maker moving in just in time, unfortunately, for Preakness. So that means some spotty showers showing up now on Friday for Black Eyed Susan festivities. Temperature-wise, we're in good shape. We'll spend the day in the low to mid 70s. Looks like for Preakness, we are also tracking some scattered showers. I don't think it looks like a washout as of now, but certainly something to keep an eye on as you plan out your Preakness attire. I'd have a rain jacket and umbrella just on standby just in case. Actually, I don't think you're allowed umbrellas there at Pimlico. I caught myself. But rain jackets necessary for that potentially. Mid-70s either way. Now, if you are headed out to anything Preakness related, actually at any point this week, because I know festivities get underway earlier in the week, send us your pictures. Head over to foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, and you can get us your pictures that way. Now, that's not our only chance for rain in the week ahead. We are nice and rain-free both today and tomorrow, but I am tracking a little itty-bitty weather maker on Tuesday. That's going to cloud up our skies and send us some scattered showers with highs in the mid-70s at that point. A cool down will follow both Wednesday into Thursday. Temperatures will be much closer to 70 at that point. And then as we head through the end of the week, that's when that new weather maker moves in. Plan on some spotty showers because of that on Friday. And then scattered showers again on Saturday for Preakness. Remember, you can always use that QR code you see at the bottom of your 7-day forecast. If you want to use it, just scan it with your phone, and it's going to take you right to our WBFF weather app. You can get all these weather updates there, plus it's free. Taylor?
All right, changes to come to the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Still ahead this morning, the questions that still remain as Shante Jackson is expected to step down next month. And the Preakness is less than a week away, and you've got a chance to go for free. Still ahead this morning, what you need to know to win the giveaway. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. President Biden giving the commencement address at Howard University. Now, in his speech, he took aim at Republicans fighting against the student debt relief.
The same opposition who received relief loans, I might add, to keep their businesses afloat during the pandemic. Members of the Congress worth thousands, even millions of dollars, most of which didn't have to be paid back. Yet, they say it's okay for them, but not for you.
The Supreme Court is currently weighing the future of President Biden's federal loan forgiveness plan. If it survives, Republicans in both chambers of Congress are pushing resolutions to overturn the relief program. They argue it'll force Americans to pay off debts of other people. And college graduation happening all month across Maryland, and then it's high school graduation shortly thereafter. Make sure you send us your favorite pictures from your commencement ceremonies online through Chime. We're going to share them here on air and through social media over the next few weeks. Still ahead, excellence on and off the field. Rocco DeSangro has our prep player of the week just ahead in Sports Unlimited. And highs are looking like they'll be in the upper 70s for your Mother's Day. Just ahead, how your work week forecast is shaping up. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good Mother's Day morning to you. It is Sunday, May 14th. I'm Taylor Stewart. Thanks for being with us here at Fox 45. Let's get over your forecast because I'm sure a lot of people have brunch planned outside today. Meteorologist Amy Aronson.
Yeah, and today's much better than yesterday. Yesterday was tough with the on and off showers. Today, not the case. We're starting off dry, comfy this morning if you want to run out and maybe get mom breakfast or some coffee. We're starting off in the upper 50s to near 60 degrees. Nice and refreshing to begin the day. And as we head through the rest of your Mother's Day, we're in good shape. Temperatures, we're going to warm into the 60s, 70s, and eventually mid and upper 70s this afternoon. Nice and dry for brunch and breakfast plans. Some sunshine this afternoon. And if you plan to be outside this evening for dinner, looks great at that point too. Now, this trend isn't going to continue all week long. I'm actually tracking two weather makers this week. I've got an updated look at exactly when we'll see some rain in the week ahead in just over 10 minutes. Taylor?
Okay, new details this morning on the 17-year-old shot by a Baltimore police officer this past Thursday. Police say he was armed with a gun and refused to drop it during a chase. The boy's mother now identifying him as Mackay, saying he lost a kidney, a spleen, and half of a lung when he was shot in the back. Police say he was showing characteristics of an armed person. Here's their explanation.
When they called it out, they said an individual with characteristics of an armed person. That's why they started to approach him. As soon as they approached, the suspect took off running. During the foot pursuit, the officer gave several verbal commands for him to drop the weapon. He could clearly see the weapon in his right hand as he was running. As they turned into the alley, the officer discharged his weapon and struck the suspect.
Police say the officer involved in that shooting is part of the Southwestern District's police action team. The incident is raising questions about when officers are trained to shoot and when they're told to hold fire. FOX45's Keith Daniels explains.
The shooting of a teen by a Baltimore City police officer. 17-year-old Mackay in the hospital now, critical condition, with a gunshot wound to the upper body. Cell phone video we obtained shows the aftermath of that shooting. The teen, who police say had a gun, seen lying on the ground as an officer renders aid. Questions after that shooting.
What that gets down to now is probable cause or reasonable suspicion.
A closer look at the rules of engagement, notably when an officer thinks someone may have a gun. Garland Nixon, a retired officer with the Maryland Natural Resources Police, which has statewide police authority, weighs in. Nixon, at one time a major with the NRP's training division, tells us what training an officer might rely on when that officer suspects someone might be armed.
There are a number of things, not the least of which being, you look for a bulge, you look for something in the belt. And keep in mind, you look for the actions of the person. You've been trained to look, okay, this is where a person puts the gun, this is how it looks when it sticks through their shirt, things of that nature.
The BPD officer shot Mackay Thursday afternoon near Frederick Avenue and South Catherine Street in southwest Baltimore. Hey, Jordan. Investigators say the officer was sitting on a stoop talking to a resident when he saw Mackay and believed he may be armed.
I can't tell you what the officer saw, but then when they called it out, they said an individual with characteristics of an armed person. That's why they started to approach him.
Police say Mackay ran off. A foot pursuit occurred. Investigators say Mackay was holding a gun, ignoring officers' commands to drop the weapon. Then one officer fired more than one gunshot, hitting the teen.
Well, at that point, when they realize that there is a weapon, they understand it's a dangerous situation, and they have a right to act.
Keith Daniels, FOX45 News.
Changes are coming to the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement as Director Shante Jackson is expected to step down next month. Her departure leaving more questions in an office already dealing with transparency issues, as FOX45 has reported on for years. Now, the office mainly responsible for programming to deter people from crime is looking for new leadership.
The mayor's chief of staff and his communications director have all resigned. They've all left, and now Shante Jackson is leaving.
Shante Jackson, the director of the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, is out as of the end of June. It's one of several recent resignations in Baltimore City leadership, and it comes just 2 weeks ahead of Memorial Day weekend, the rollout of Mayor Scott's summer crime initiative, and the start of the city's new juvenile curfew.
You cannot have the confidence that the community needs in the type of programs that he wants to do when he's got these, everyone at the top, all of his leadership, from his communications director to the Monty director to everybody, playing musical chairs and leaving at a time that's so critical.
The Neighborhood Safety Office runs Safe Streets, touted by city leaders as a flagship violence intervention program. And a key piece of the planned programming Mayor Scott says is forthcoming this summer.
People telling us that many of them aren't even open. The doors aren't even open.
Eurypsy Morgan, an advocate for the people for elected accountability, saying this about Safe Streets.
This organization piece, we've had, I believe, 4 or 5 community meetings. We're going to do all 14 districts by the end of the year. And at every single one, we have heard the same thing. There are a lot of suspicion. There's a lot of suspicion and a lot of questions, a lot of allegations about what's truly going on at Safe Streets locations.
Questions that Fox 45 has asked relentlessly for years. Morgan says Baltimore residents should start asking too.
When you have that level of suspicion within the community, it requires a level of assessment that hasn't happened under the previous Muncie director.
Taylor Stewart, Fox 45 News. Now, former Mayor Sheila Dixon founded Safe Streets and modeling it after Chicago was doing at the time. But in an exclusive interview with Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost, Dixon says what's happening now is not what she envisioned.
Looking at the way the Safe Streets program is organized now, over a decade later after it was launched, do you think it's effective?
Let me say this, not knowing how all of them are run, but have talked to individuals and have watched different activities that have taken place within Safe Street, I question whether or not, and of course missions change all the time, but whether or not it really has the overall rooted mission from the way it started. Rallies and the give outs that they do, I mean, that's great and that's fine, but I think the emphasis has to be on being out there during times when the rest of us are asleep, figuring out what's happening, what's going on.
The Orioles playing through the Pittsburgh Pirates today, and 1-30 at 1:35. Just ahead, what you can expect to see at today's game.
Yeah, we're hoping for a sweep today. The weather will be nice at least. We've got mid-70s today. We stay in the 70s through Tuesday. Little mini cool down Wednesday into Thursday as a new weather maker moves in. I'll explain exactly when we'll see some rain showers in the week ahead in a couple of minutes. It's 7:37. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Debt ceiling talks have stalled yet again. A meeting between the president and congressional leaders was scheduled for Friday, but then postponed. President Biden addressing the debt talk ceilings yesterday.
Well, I think they're moving along. It's hard to tell. We've not reached the crunch point yet. So, but there's real discussion about some changes, but we're not there yet.
Both sides agree time is running out to make a deal before the June deadline. National correspondent Dr. Ellen Shaw reports on the warnings from the financial sector about panic from delaying a deal.
A second debt ceiling meeting between the president and congressional leaders postponed, narrowing the already short timeline to avoid economic catastrophe. An exact X date of default isn't known yet, but the Treasury says it could be as soon as June 1st. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office said Friday there's a significant risk the government runs out of cash in the first 2 weeks of June. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reluctant to weigh in on what would happen then.
There are potential different paths that could be taken if that doesn't happen, but there is not a single thing that can be done that will save the United States from considerable economic and financial damage.
Yellen says she's set to meet with senior bankers next week when she returns from a G7 finance minister meeting in Japan.
I want to understand how they're thinking about the debt ceiling, and what I'm hearing is that it is a grave source of uncertainty that is one of the things that businesses are really concerned about.
JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon says he's holding war room meetings every week, and he guesses around May 21st, they'll be every day, talking to clients about how they might get through a potential default.
We might get downgraded. The last time we were downgraded, we had like 65 or 70% debt to GDP. Now it's 105. Now our deficits are 2 or 3 times that we had back then. So, we better be very careful.
Panic, he says, can lead to irrational decisions.
I remember even in 08, people were selling certain securities at 40% of what they would be worth if we had a Great Depression.
At this point, almost all agree the most irrational decision is allowing the country to default in the first place. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atrell Nishar reporting.
Still ahead this morning, you can learn to get some free skate lessons today from a local skateboarder, all for a great cause. We'll tell you about it just ahead. And the Preakness is just around the corner. The horses that might take part in that race. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. All right, taking a live look now at Camden Yards, where the Orioles will be taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates in their final game of their series today. The O's are looking for a sweep as they won last night's game. It didn't take long for the offense to get going. 2 batters, to be exact. Bottom of the first, Adley Rutschman hits a bullet to right field, out for a home run. The crowd loves it as the bird bath splash zone, and it's Adley's 6th home run for the season. Gunnar Henderson would go deep in the second, and that's all the Orioles needed. They won the game 2-0. Maryland's men's lacrosse kicking off their NCAA tournament against Army, and it was not a quick start for the Terps. Army led 7-2 after the first quarter, but the Terps came back, storming back. Let's pick it up in the fourth quarter. Maryland's down by 2 goals, but this goal from Daniel Kelly cuts it to 1 with only 30 seconds left. Unfortunately, Terps were not able to complete the comeback, their season coming to an end with a 16-15 loss. Well, the Preakness is just a week away, and Kentucky Derby winner Madge will be racing for the second leg of the Triple Crown. This follows an encouraging workout at Churchill Downs, according to his co-owner. We'll have you covered all week long leading up to the race on Saturday. And this morning, Frank Vespi, with the publisher and founder of The Racing Biz, he's going to join us this morning to talk more about what we could expect for the Preakness. And if you'd like to go, FOX45 is giving you a chance to go to the race for free. All you got to do is watch FOX45 Morning News tomorrow through Friday this week and wait for your cue to call in. Each hour from 5 to 10, we're going to give away 4 tickets for general admission to the Preakness. And that includes the live concert lineup, including the headliner, Bruno Mars. Stick around for Monday. And let's check with our weather meteorologist, Amy Aronson. A lot going on this week, but a lot happening today as well.
Exactly. Mother's Day is here. This is typically when we say you get the green light to start working on your garden. If you plan to start it today, you're actually in good shape. I'm giving today the green light along with Monday. We are tracking some showers now on Tuesday, so I'd hold off doing anything outside, any yard work or gardening on Tuesday. But by Wednesday, we're in good shape again with dry and comfortable weather returning. Here's a look down at Camden Yards, gearing up for today's Mother's Day game. I have a feeling it's going to be busy there. Going to be a beautiful day at the ballpark. We're starting off with sun this morning. We're near 60 degrees to start. Mid-70s. That's where we're headed this afternoon. A warm and dry end to the weekend. Spotty showers make a quick return on Tuesday, and then we are tracking some rain by the end of the week. And unfortunately, it looks like that will have an impact on Preakness plans. The weather maker from yesterday is now sitting to our south. That's taking all the moisture along with it. Some clouds remain this morning, but we should enjoy some sunshine as we head through the afternoon. And Future Scan shows the clouds clearing, making way for some sun by the second half of the day. Looking pretty nice this evening. Overnight tonight, conditions continue to stay quiet. We are looking at nice clear skies for your Monday morning drive back to work, back to school with high pressure in control. Actually, a dry start to a brand new work week before our next weather maker arrives. Here it comes. We've got this little disturbance scooting in from the west here as we get into Tuesday. I would plan on some showers arriving by daybreak on Tuesday and continuing on and off throughout the afternoon, not wrapping up until Tuesday evening with the passage of this cold front. And that's going to cool us down just briefly midweek. Today, if you're heading out to Camden Yards, here's a look at what you want to dress for. Low 70s at first pitch, lots of sunshine through the end of the game. It's just going to be a nice day for some baseball. Temperatures in the mid-70s, and of course, we are keeping our fingers crossed for a sweep out there today. Wouldn't that be exciting for Mother's Day? A quick look ahead at the start of the work week shows pleasant conditions continue on Monday with highs in the mid-70s. We'll stay in the mid-70s on Tuesday, but I am throwing in that chance for some scattered showers at that point. Wednesday looks nice and comfortable. Behind that front, temperatures will come down a little bit. We're closer to 70 degrees by midweek. You can also see that cool down coming up in our 7-day forecast. Scattered showers on Tuesday, drier Wednesday and Thursday, but a little cooler too with highs in the upper 60s to near 70. And then here comes that late week weather maker. This will have an impact on Preakness plans. So plan on some spotty showers for Black Eyed Susan Day on Friday. And then on Saturday for actual Preakness, some scattered showers. Not a washout as of now, but certainly worth keeping an eye on. At least temperature wise, we're in good shape with highs in the mid-70s both days. Taylor?
All right, how about this? A Mother's Day twist on Jake's Day today in honor of Baltimore skateboarder Jake Owens, who lost his life in 2011 rather, and he was a professional skateboarder. But Joey Jett, his mother, and the Baltimore inspector, Isabel Mercedes, they joined us yesterday to talk about the great cause.
The event tomorrow is just for the kids, and now it's for the moms, and we're basically just inviting all kids in Baltimore. Like, you don't have to be good.
Yeah.
You can be a beginner. We're just welcoming pretty much anyone that wants to pick up a skateboard and just have a good time.
His name was Jake Owens, and he was a little Locust Point boy. So this is a real community event for the community, and just to get everybody knowing that skating saves lives.
Yeah.
It's just such a positive event, and you can do it on your own, and it's wonderful. And that is the most amazing skate park. The community, the diversity, it's just love.
Today's event runs from 9 o'clock to 10 a.m. at Rashfield Park. It's going to be free. Joey's going to offer lessons. There's a whole bunch more information and a lot going on today at the Watershed Partnership website. You can read more about it. Baltimore Peninsula and Cherry Hill Strong teaming up for a food insecurity fight in Cherry Hill. They're preparing 2 candy trucks, which offer more than just sweets. The trucks are going to bring fresh food and drugstore items into areas that may not have easy access to grocery stores or pharmacies. Organizers say it's a more reliable option than convenience stores, especially for people who want to eat clean.
There's a lot of food deserts. There's been a lot of research behind what those food deserts are, and if there is a convenience store or source where there's not healthy access to food, so their partnership with Black Yield Institute is also that, where you want fresh vegetables, you want fresh foods, and how do you go about getting that? And so between SNAP benefits being decreased now that, you know, it's just a growing need. When you think about just your basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter, food is always first.
Now, many of the food items are locally sourced using excess food from farmers markets across the city. City organizers, they stress this is a temporary fix and hope Cherry Hill can have a full grocery store sometime soon. Still ahead this morning, Rocco DeSangro has our prep player of the week in Sports Unlimited. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Four primetime games, a matchup in London, and one on Christmas. The Ravens' 2023 schedule truly has it all. And with all the additions to the offense and extending Lamar Jackson as well, Ravens flock, it's got to be hard for you guys not to be excited. Lamar and the Ravens kick off their season September 10th against the Houston Texans at home. That marks the debut of offensive coordinator Todd Monken and his new system offensively. For Monken, the Ravens extending Lamar was, of course, big, and he's ready to get to work with a talented group of guys who will be out there catching passes from their star QB.
Again, we're excited about, one, getting Bateman back healthy. The other guys that have been here, that the organization drafted, that it's our job, our duty. We're in the development business to develop them and to maximize their measurable skill set. That's what we're paid to do. And the additions of Nelson and Odell and Zay to add to the room. So I'm excited when they all get here to see that and see the competition. And our tight ends as well, Mark and Zay, our running back room. I'm excited to get started, but there is only one ball.
That is true. There's only one ball. One of the guys Monken mentioned was Zay Flowers, who isn't the biggest guy in the world, but at 5'9", he plays big. His quick first step and great hands make up for his size. Many considered Flowers a slot receiver coming out of Boston College, But this dude can play inside or out. The Ravens had Flowers as their top wideout on the draft board, and the rest is simply history.
Explosive speed, all right, and he's strong. Like, he's not big, but he's strong. So you watch him, you watch guys grab him. He can fight through contact. He can fight off contact. He can handle the bump. You see it, and then his ability to play big for himself, for his size at the catch point. He just got a route ability at all, really, X, Y, Z, you know, wherever. Just line him up.
Not only is it Lakia Anderson's first season of high school lacrosse, the Patterson Junior goalie is the lone girl on a team full of guys. For a big double-digit save game and making some school history, Anderson is our prep player of the week. Number one, you guys are headed to the playoffs, and that's big time for this program, so give yourselves a round of applause. Big reason for that success, Lakia Anderson, 15 saves against Digital Harbor, and she has been an absolute force in net for this team. And for that, Lakia, you are our prep player of the week. Congratulations.
It's like a brotherhood, but I'm a girl, if that makes sense.
In fact, she's the only girl on the squad. Patterson doesn't have a girls lacrosse team, but that wasn't going to stop Anderson from giving the sport a go.
When she asked to come out, I just thought she was joking.
He didn't believe me. He was like, nah, and then he was like, you can play because even though it's a boys' team, they can't tell me I can't play.
Anderson stepped right in, and her teammates welcomed her with open arms. First year, team full of guys, and playing the most important position on the field.
We was looking for a goalie, and then she was like, I can do it. I'm like, you sure? I said, you scared of the ball? She was like, no.
Not a lot of females want to be a goalie on a men's team when they shoot harder and faster, and it's a whole different ball game.
But as the team's brick wall in net, the junior goalie has made this ball game her own.
Once she got in the goal, and me being the goalie myself, I just saw the way she moved, the way she reacted to the ball. I'm like, we got something here. Like, this really gonna be something special.
Something special indeed. And for all the girls out there that might have second thoughts about joining a team full of guys, Anderson has some words of advice.
I would say do it because, one, why not? I'm not like a gentle, girly girl. I'm like a tomboy, aggressive girl. So if you like me, you're gonna wanna do this.
Prep Player of the Week is provided by Allegram, your trusted source for awards.
That's it for this edition of Sports Unlimited. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Thanks for watching. Have a great Sunday.
Efforts to tackle the juvenile crime crisis as another person falls victim to gun violence. FOX45 News is digging into the numbers surrounding crime among young people. And Baltimore is set to enforce a new court curfew in 2 weeks, trying to limit juvenile violence across the city this summer. Why some argue it will not be effective.
And we are looking at a much drier end to the weekend. I've got an updated look at your Mother's Day forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Starting off maybe a little foggy here on this Mother's Day, May 14th. I'm Taylor Stewart, and thanks for being with us. Let's get over your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson with that update for us.
Yeah, you could see that sun trying to break through the clouds this morning. That's going to be the case today. A much different day than yesterday. The better of the 2 weekend days for outdoor plans. Starting off refreshing this morning, mid-50s, low 60s around the region. Perfect for a nice little walk if you plan to do that. Maybe you're spoiling mom with breakfast in bed. Also a nice morning for that. We have 60s to begin. We're near 70 by the end of the morning. And I think at that point we'll see some clearing and we'll enjoy a little bit of sunshine. And this is setting us up for a really nice Mother's Day. Today, you're in good shape for whatever you want to do outside. But I am tracking a couple of weather makers for the week ahead. I've got an updated look at exactly when we'll see some rain this week in just about 10 minutes. Taylor?
In a city in crisis, a mother on this Mother's Day weekend, another somber reminder of the impact of gun violence and its impact on families, particularly. Dozens of people gathering in Wheaton last night to remember the shooting victims across the state, demanding action from state and federal leaders. As one mother shared her story of losing her son to the relentless violence, one she says is all too common.
My son was at home. That could have been anybody's child, you know, so we have to think about what can we do differently to make our streets, make our homes, make our environment, our neighborhoods safer for our kids.
Moms Demand Action put on the event, and the group is asking Congress to reinstate the federal assault on weapons bans. And more than 200 Mother's Day of action rallies are taking place across the country today to try to bring an end to the loss of innocent lives. Here in Baltimore, many of those lives are juveniles, and the number of children committing violent crime is at an all-time high. That's according to Baltimore police. Now, Benson Hill has more on the story.
Families of victims killed by gun violence, lighting candles and calling for peace.
It's hard to think of any place left in our society that has not been in one form or another scarred by gun violence.
One of those victims laid to rest Saturday, Fabian Sanchez Gonzalez, killed during an armed robbery at T-Mobile in Canton.
I miss my brother every single day, every second.
His accused killer, 18-year-old Arthur McHayden, and his accomplice, his 14-year-old brother. One of the latest violent crimes committed by juveniles, sounding the alarm at City Hall.
We're seeing a spike in youth violence across the city.
According to BPD, the spike in numbers for the year is astounding, especially when it comes to homicides.
A 67% increase in youth homicides, 55% in youth shootings.
10 juveniles have been arrested for homicide, all between the ages of 10 and 17, each with seemingly easy access to guns.
I believe 8 of the 10 homicides involve gun violence.
And it's not just homicides and shootings seeing an increase. So far, 37 juveniles have been arrested for street robbery, 68 for assault, and 7 for carjacking, including 12-year-old Jalen Richards, on house arrest for that crime, according to his grandmother, when he was gunned down last month with an assault rifle.
Jalen don't know how to drive. He was just hanging along for the ride.
But the most troubling number could be the amount of teens charged with crimes so brazen they're charged as adults.
We have one 14-year-old this year that was charged, 4 15-year-olds, 30 16-year-olds, and 40 17-year-olds.
Adding it up, that's 75 Baltimore City youth charged with capital crimes.
That brings us to our question of the day. Do you think there should be a special legislative session in Annapolis to tackle the juvenile crime crisis? So far, 98% of people say yes. You can vote right now at foxbaltimore.com/vote. Elsewhere in a city in crisis, a legal victory for the hundreds of residents suing the city over biweekly trash pickup. Joining us this morning, Desmond Stinney, the lead plaintiff on 2 suits that seek to compel the city to resume weekly pickup. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. So catch us up to speed here. We've seen those suits come through lots of signatures, businesses that have all now joined into the suit to see that trash pickup is resumed. What's happened recently?
Recently, we've had a couple of motions being filed on either side. A motion to dismiss was filed by the city on the mandamus lawsuit, which is the lawsuit that will compel the city to resume weekly recycling. Shortly after filing the motion to dismiss the case, they filed a motion to continue it from May 26th, the current hearing date, till September. And of course, we filed our motion in opposition of the continuance, saying that the citizens would be further harmed if we had to wait an additional 4 months just to get our day in court. And Judge Schreiber ruled in our favor, and the court date stood as for May 26th on the mandamus hearing.
And so this is the first suit that you guys filed that would compel the city to resume biweekly trash pickup. That's now going to be heard this month, despite the city trying to push it back to September.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So there could be some changes in that. There's another suit that you guys have also filed. Any updates with that one? And tell us more about that.
Yes, that's the filing for the injunctive relief, and that is the suit to suspend all the mayor's pet projects that's spending tremendous amounts of money and causing further harm to the city. One, primarily the Clean Port project, which is the project that is supposed to spend up to $15 million between this spring and the end of the election. I think it's January 2025. So the injunctive relief would put a pin in that program until such time that the mandamus case can play out, so that we can further evaluate that program and determine if that's something that needs to be done by the city. The citizens feel that the $15 million that's allocated to that program is detrimental to us getting the weekly recycling back on track. So I think right now full focus and resources should be on getting weekly recycling back. So that case is also being heard the same day on May 26th.
Okay. We found over the week that a fact-finding group opened the books, found that $632 million being pumped into DPW without trash pickup being resumed. What do you imagine the hang-ups are, and what are you hoping the judge decides in the next 2 weeks here?
Well, that's exactly the reason for the lawsuit. Is we don't know really what the reasons are, and the administration hasn't been very forthcoming with good reasons as to why weekly recycling hasn't been resumed. This case is a last resort. I think everyone has tried to get these answers out of the administration, be it the council and us individually as taxpayers, and the suits were a last resort. Obviously, no one wants to be in this situation, but it came down to this was our last option. So what we're hoping is that the judge sides with the people on the May 26th and gives us an opportunity to go into discovery so that we can ask these questions and request the documents and actually get them unredacted so that we can see where the budget is going. I mean, DPW is one of the most well-funded agencies in the city with over $630 million annually. Just under $40 million annually is for picking up trash and recycling. So, we're baffled as to why this could be done up until, obviously the pandemic would cause it because of the proximity issues, but we're well past those days now, and we should be able to resume our recycling pickup. And to hear that we're still a year away is without any really good reason or cause is what's, got us to this point. So, May 26th will be a day for the people in court, and we hope that the judge will side with people to get these answers and get our recycling back on track, which we're paying for.
And we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much, Desmond Stenney. Keep us updated here as the suit moves forward. A lot of conversations folks are having are, why is it necessary to sue the city just to get your trash picked up? But we're going to get those answers. And so thank you for joining us, and we'll continue to update this.
And I appreciate you having us.
Absolutely. All right, still ahead, though, Mother's Day celebrations, they're getting started. The fun festivities in Baltimore and why some mothers deserve a little extra thanks this year.
And we are looking at a really pretty Mother's Day ahead of us. A mix of clouds and sun with high temperatures in the very warm mid-70s. Perfect for whatever you have planned outside for Mom today. Now, coming up in 10 minutes, I will break down the rain chances for the week ahead, especially on Preakness, because it looks like we are tracking a weather maker now by next weekend, too. It's 8:09. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Get your leg out. Now.
A bizarre drug bust in Ohio as police find a man hiding inside of a dryer during the bust. The man says he has too many warrants and did not want police to find him. Well, he's not the only one who had a strange hiding place in this bust. Police found another man hiding under the stairs. A woman was found hiding in the attic. In all, right now, 7 people are facing drug charges. All of them were arrested. President Biden giving a commencement address at Howard University. Just ahead, his comments on student debt relief.
The border is not open. That's the word from President Biden, but critics say the numbers prove otherwise. I'm Scott Thuman in Washington with a look at the latest efforts to come up with new solutions.
Two sides of the border surge as Title 42 came to an end this week. Long lines of people waiting to get in at one station and virtually no migrants waiting elsewhere along the border. The end of the pandemic era restrictions means Border Patrol agents cannot turn people away for COVID-related reasons. Not anymore. But some border towns are concerned about an extended surge in migrants, while others say the surge has already leveled off.
We're starting to see more order on the border. We're starting to see an orderly process of migrants not coming at the numbers that they were. And the numbers that are crossing now are under the capability and capacity of Border Patrol and CBP and law enforcement on our border.
The White House is trying to send a message to discouraging immigrants from showing up, even threatening harsher penalties. But as chief political correspondent Scott Thuman shows us, critics say it's too little, too late.
A steady stream of immigrants loaded into Customs and Border Protection vans on the way to be processed and apply for asylum. Many more still waiting to cross.
The president's going to use every tool that he has, as he has been for the last 2 years.
President Biden accused of talking tough now with that message the border is not open, but also failing to close it or keep close tabs on immigrants once they've entered. The number of encounters at the southern border continually trending higher at an alarming rate, even breaking some records so far this fiscal year.
All right, here we go, guys.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signing a law this week forcing hospitals and companies to check the status of their patients and workers. while Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed more than a dozen lawsuits to counter the administration, contending overburdened schools, hospitals, and law enforcement are saddled by the federal government with unsustainable costs as billions of dollars are spent supporting illegal aliens residing in Texas.
This is a decision that was made by President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and congressional Democrats to open up the border to what is nothing less than an invasion.
Democrats argue Republicans don't mind the chaos if it wins them TV appearances and votes.
I do wish there was some good faith like there was back in the days of George W. Bush, and a realization that the system is broken. It's going to take both parties to fix it.
But reports indicate Democrats, too, may be fractured over solutions. Senator Sherrod Brown possibly joining centrists on the Hill, urgently trying to renew a different version of Title 42 for 2 years, which many Democrats and the president oppose. The blame being spread across Washington, but by default, President Biden taking a lot of the heat and trying to prevent it from becoming an even larger problem going into the 2024 campaign. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Now, as migrants continue to trickle in through the southern border, some Maryland school systems are bracing for the impact. In Prince George's County, at least 40% of students are migrants or children of migrants. That's about 3,500 students, and school officials say that number could double during summer enrollment.
This situation, because a lot of people have been waiting for a long time and been, in fact, in Mexico for a long time, and there are large groups there, I would say it's probably going to be like double that.
County leaders say they're willing to welcome students with open arms, but they're concerned about a shortage of teachers and not being able to handle the surge of new students. Today is Mother's Day, and some people got started early yesterday. The Casey Cares Foundation put on a Mother's Day tea party in Baltimore, celebrating all the mothers who care for their critically ill children. The event drew about 100 people and included special brunches and activities for the kids. All right, how about some Mother's Day smiles? Lisa Oates shared this picture with us, wishing a very happy Mother's Day to her mom and her daughter. And Karen Logan sent us this one. She's sending the best wishes to her mothers on this Mother's Day. We'd love to see how you're celebrating with Mom this weekend. Go ahead and chime in with your favorite pictures and videos at foxbaltimore.com, or you can use the WBFF app. Meteorologist Amy Aronson, let's check in with you for the weather. How are you celebrating with Mom today?
Actually heading up to my sister's to do a little cookout with her and her little one. So
awesome.
Celebrating her, and it's her birthday on Tuesday. So
great weather for it.
Yeah, busy week ahead in my family. We've got a pretty day today, and actually as we head into a brand new week too, we've got some sun shining down on Towson. So looking lovely right now to kick off your Sunday. Low 60s to start, some upper 50s too, so nice and comfy to get things started. We are looking at that weather maker from yesterday to our south. That's moving away from us. We don't need to worry about that anymore. Little bit of fog has developed, especially west of here. That's where we find a dense fog advisory. For us, just some clouds passing through. But no more rain today, so you're in good shape for whatever you have planned outside to celebrate Mother's Day. We have temperatures warming into the mid-70s. Maybe you're heading out to Camden Yards for the game today. Looks fantastic for that. Nothing but sunshine this afternoon. This evening, similar setup. We'll spend tonight in the mid-70s to start, so great for grilling with Mom or a cookout like I'm doing. And then as temperatures settle back into the 60s late tonight, temperatures will be dipping back into the low 60s, so still pretty comfortable at that point. Tonight's going to be a cooler one. Upper 40s, low 50s to start off your Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon, nice and warm again. We're back in the mid and upper 70s across our region. Next chance for rain is coming on Tuesday. Forecast model just updated, so it shows a little delay in the timeline of the showers. Looks like they hold off until around midday now on Tuesday. But today looks great for whatever you have planned. We have mid and upper 70s this afternoon with a nice mix of sun and clouds. Much better today for outdoor plans and for grilling plans tonight. We're in the very comfy low 70s through this evening. Even after sunset, temperatures will stay pretty mild, hanging out in the upper and mid 60s for tonight. Taking a look at what's going to happen next weekend for Preakness shows we are tracking some showers, unfortunately. Looks like a weather maker will be moving in by the end of the week. Some spotty showers for Black-Eyed Susan festivities on Friday. By Saturday, they do become a little more scattered. Doesn't look like a washout right now, but I would have that rain jacket, the rain boots on standby just in case. You know, it can get very muddy at Pimlico. Temperatures in the mid-70s at that point. If you are heading out to Pimlico this weekend at any point, or this week maybe for the festivities leading up to the races, we want to see your pics. Send them to us, foxbaltimore.com/chime in. And we have a pretty start to the week, mid-70s tomorrow. We are tracking some scattered showers on Tuesday. That's a weather maker moving through that cools us down. We're close to 70 degrees both Wednesday and Thursday. By the end of the week, a better chance for some showers. They're spotty on Friday. They're scattered on Saturday. But temperature-wise, pretty consistent. Temperatures will stay near normal and in the mid-70s all the way through next weekend. Taylor?
All right, there's some changes coming to the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Still ahead this morning, the questions that remain as Director Shante Jackson is expected to step down next month. And the Preakness is less than a week away, and you've got a chance to go for free. Still ahead this morning, what you need to know to win that giveaway. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. President Biden giving the commencement address at Howard University. In his speech, he doubled down on his efforts to fight for student debt relief.
The same opposition who received relief loans, I might add, to keep their businesses afloat during the pandemic. Members of the Congress worth thousands, even millions of dollars, most of which didn't have to be paid back. Yet, they say it's okay for them, but not for you.
The Supreme Court is currently weighing the future of Biden's federal student loan forgiveness plan. If it survives, Republicans in both chambers of Congress are pushing resolutions to overturn the relief program. They argue the plan would force Americans to pay off the debts of others. College graduation happening all month long across Maryland, and then it's high school graduation shortly thereafter. We want to see how you're celebrating all of it. Go ahead and send us your favorite pictures from your commencement ceremonies, and we'll share them here on air or online. Just use that chime in feature at WBFF. And here's a look right now at today's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
The space we live in is so important to all of us, and that really starts with the base of a healthy, clean home, including the air that we breathe. And there are so many pollutants that can affect the air inside of our homes, from our pets, dust, allergens. What's the solution? Here's one. This is the Clean Light Air. It's super compact, easy to use. It even fits in the cup holder of your car. It's an air filter that can remove up to 99.9% of particles you don't want in your house, like smoke, odors, pet dander, air pollution. And this thing is small, but really mighty. It can purify up to 161 square feet at a time. So think about it as in your office, your kid's dorm room, for a small bedroom. So many people love using these in the kitchen while they're cooking. Even if you've never thought about the air quality in your space before, you will absolutely feel the difference right away with this product. Place them anywhere your pet hangs out. Or when you're going somewhere running errands, put it in your car. It's super quiet. It's super easy to use. And another thing I love, you can charge your devices at the same time. There's a USB port. Add your favorite essential oil to the sponge inside so the air will not only be clean, it will smell great. And today we're offering a 2-for-1. Both of these for the price of less than you normally pay for just one. Take advantage of this deal. Go to asadeals.com.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over Camden Yards this morning, and we're in the right place. Sunday, May 14th, and it's Mother's Day. Thanks for being with us. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's get over to your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson with the Mother's Day giveaway of sunshine.
Yeah, tons of sunshine. Plus, there is a giveaway if you're headed out to the game today. I think it's one of those little bags, the crossbody bags. So a cool giveaway for mom if you're headed out to that. Low 60s right now, so we're pretty comfy to start. If you're running some maybe last-minute errands this morning before heading out to the game, you're in good shape. Maybe you're heading out to breakfast or brunch. Perfect for that, too. This afternoon looks lovely. Plan some time outside. We've got low and mid-70s this afternoon with a good amount of sunshine on the way. Now, coming up in 10 minutes, we will look ahead to our rain chances this week, and especially next weekend, because next weekend, Preakness already, and I am tracking, unfortunately, a weather maker for that, too. Taylor?
We've got new details this morning on the 17-year-old who was shot by Baltimore police this past Thursday. Police say he was armed with a gun and refused to drop it during a foot chase. The boy's mother now identifying him as Mackay, saying he lost a kidney, a spleen, and half of a lung when he was shot in the back. Police say he was showing characteristics of an armed person. Here's their explanation.
When they called it out, they said an individual with characteristics of an armed person. That's why they started to approach him. As soon as they approached, the suspect took off running. During the foot pursuit, the officer gave several verbal commands for him to drop the weapon. He could clearly see the weapon in his right hand as he was running. As they turned into the alley, the officer discharged his weapon and struck the suspect.
Police say the officer involved in that shooting is part of the Southwestern District's police action team. The incident is raising questions about when officers are trained to shoot and when they're trained to hold their fire. Fox 45's Keith Daniels explains.
The shooting of a teen by a Baltimore City police officer. 17-year-old Mackay in the hospital now, critical condition, with a gunshot wound to the upper body. Cell phone video we obtained shows the aftermath of that shooting. The teen, who police say had a gun, seen lying on the ground as an officer renders aid. Questions after that shooting.
What that gets down to now is probable cause or reasonable suspicion.
A closer look at the rules of engagement, notably when an officer thinks someone may have a gun. Garland Nixon, a retired officer with the Maryland Natural Resources Police, which has statewide police authority, weighs in. Nixon, at one time a major with the NRP's training division, tells us what training an officer might rely on when that officer suspects someone might be armed.
There are a number of things, not the least of which being, you look for a bulge, you look for something in the belt. And keep in mind, you look for the actions of the person. You've been trained to look, okay, this is where a person puts a gun, this is how it looks when it sticks through their shirt, things of that nature.
The BPD officer shot Mackay Thursday afternoon near Frederick Avenue and South Catherine Street in southwest Baltimore.
Hey, Jordan!
Investigators say the officer was sitting on a stoop talking to a resident when he saw Mackay and believed he may be armed.
I can't tell you what the officer saw, but then when they called it out, they said an individual with characteristics of an armed person. That's why they started to approach him.
Police say Mackay ran off. A foot pursuit occurred. Investigators say Mackay was holding a gun, ignoring officers' commands to drop the weapon. Then one officer fired more than one gunshot, hitting the teen.
Well, at that point, when they realize that there's a weapon, they understand it's a dangerous situation, and they have a right to act.
Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Changes are coming to the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement as Director Shante Jackson is expected to step down next month. Her departure leaving more questions in an office already dealing with transparency issues, as Fox 45 has reported for years. Now, the office mainly responsible for programming to deter people from crime is looking for new leadership.
The mayor's chief of staff and his communications director have all resigned. They've all left, and now Shante Jackson is leaving.
Shante Jackson, the director of the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, is out as of the end of June. It's one of several recent resignations in Baltimore City leadership, and it comes just 2 weeks ahead of Memorial Day weekend, the rollout of Mayor Scott's summer crime initiative, and the start of the city's new juvenile curfew.
You cannot have the confidence that the community needs in the type of programs that he wants to do when he's got these, everyone at the top, all of his leadership, from his communications director to the Monty director to everybody, playing musical chairs and leaving at a time that's so critical.
The Neighborhood Safety Office runs Safe Streets, touted by city leaders as a flagship violence intervention program. And a key piece of the planned programming Mayor Scott says is forthcoming this summer.
People telling us that, many of them aren't even open. The doors aren't even open.
Eurypsy Morgan, an advocate for the people for elected accountability, saying this about Safe Streets.
This organization piece, we've had, I believe, 4 or 5 community meetings. We're going to do all 14 districts by the end of the year. And at every single one, we have heard the same thing. There are a lot of suspicion. There's a lot of suspicion and a lot of questions, a lot of allegations about what's truly going on at Safe Streets locations.
Questions that Fox 45 has asked relentlessly for years. Morgan says Baltimore residents should start asking too.
When you have that level of suspicion within the community, it requires a level of assessment that hasn't happened under the previous Monty director.
Taylor Stewart, Fox 45 News. The Orioles are playing the Pittsburgh Pirates today at 1:35. Just ahead, what you can expect at today's Mother's Day game.
And a beautiful day to head to Camden Yards. We'll spend today in the mid and upper 70s. More 70s on the way all the way through Wednesday. After that, I'm tracking a little cool down as a new weather maker moves in. I've got an updated look at when we'll see showers this week in a couple of minutes. It's 8:35. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
In a city in crisis, Governor Wes Moore is signing a series of bills this week focused on supporting Maryland's veterans, expanding health care and increasing retirement funds. He's also expected to sign Senate Bill 1 on Tuesday, which limits where legal gun owners can carry their firearms. Republicans want him to veto that measure, arguing it's only creating confusion and it's a punishment for legal gun owners.
Am I going to get some completely innocent client that has a permit to carry, that isn't sure what they can possess, and they walk in the wrong place on the wrong day unintentionally, and they end up being prosecuted in court? That's the big concern here.
FOX45 has been pressing state leaders on addressing juvenile violence. This year's session came and went without any significant action. Baltimore city leaders, though, taking matters into their own hands, implementing a summer curfew set to begin in just 2 weeks. But how it's going to work, still not clear. Mayor Scott hoping it'll bring juvenile crime down, but some are skeptical about its effectiveness. Maxine Stryker has more.
As juvenile violence spikes across Baltimore City, will a youth curfew set to go into effect Memorial Day weekend help curb the violence?
We will be enforcing the youth curfew.
The mayor announced the curfew on Easter after 2 teenagers were shot at the Inner Harbor, but he's been vague on the details of exactly how it will work.
And Memorial Day is when it will start, and Memorial Day is when we'll be showing everybody what we're and how we're going to be doing and joining in a more evolved way than we have before.
On WBAL's C4 and Brian Neiman show this week, he was pressed for answers yet again.
So how will it be enforced, and when will it go into effect?
We're going to do the enforcement with youth curfew, building off the success that we had with the Squeezy Collaborative, with the same kind of dual approach.
But still was tight-lipped on just how it will be enforced.
Will a cop be able to go up to a teenager and say, hey, you don't look like you're 18. You're going to have to get off the street. Is that going to be allowed?
Yes. Okay. But if anyone's thinking that this is just about like going out and saying, oh, young person, you can't be there. It is, but it's much more than that. And folks have been trying to simplify it, thinking it, as you said, it's going to be the end-all be-all, and nothing's the end-all be-all.
Sergeant Betsy Smith, spokeswoman for the National Police Association, says juvenile crime is spiking across the nation.
There's a couple of reasons. One goes back to the COVID lockdowns, where teenagers, young people were largely unsupervised. We also see, again, the vilification of law enforcement, where young people are told police are bad. And by the way, don't be afraid of the police. Don't be afraid to do things wrong.
She's not the only person skeptical a curfew will work.
Well, it's kind of like gun-free zones. Who reads the gun-free zone signs and says, I'll put my legal gun away? Legal gun owners. So people who are likely to commit crimes are not likely to pay attention to curfews.
And with police operating at a shortage of more than 500 officers, she questions if this is the time to put more work on their plates.
Do you have enough police officers to be able to, enforce curfew laws when you don't have enough police officers to even investigate homicides?
Debt ceiling talks have stalled once again. A meeting between the president and congressional leaders was scheduled for Friday, but postponed. President Biden addressing the debt ceiling talks yesterday. Take a listen.
Well, I think they're moving along. It's hard to tell. We've not reached the crunch point yet. But there's real discussion about some changes. But we're not there yet.
Both sides agree time is running out before they make this deal. The deadline is in June. National correspondent Audra Allen Shaw reports on the warnings from the financial sector about the panic from delaying this deal.
A second debt ceiling meeting between the president and congressional leaders postponed, narrowing the already short timeline to avoid economic catastrophe. An exact X date of default isn't known yet, but the Treasury says it could be as soon as June 1st. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office said Friday there's a significant risk the government runs out of cash in the first 2 weeks of June. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reluctant to weigh in on what would happen then.
There are potential different paths that could be taken if that doesn't happen.
but there is not a single thing that can be done that will save the United States from considerable economic and financial damage.
Yellen says she's set to meet with senior bankers next week when she returns from a G7 finance minister meeting in Japan.
I want to understand how they're thinking about the debt ceiling, and what I'm hearing is that it is a grave source of uncertainty that is one of the things that businesses are really concerned about.
JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon says he's holding war room meetings every week, and he guesses around May 21st they'll be every day, talking to clients about how they might get through a potential default.
We might get downgraded. The last time we were downgraded, we had like 65 or 70% debt to GDP. Now it's 105. Now our deficits are 2 or 3 times that we had back then. So, we better be very careful.
Panic, he says, can lead to irrational decisions.
I remember even in 08, people were selling certain securities at 40% of what they would be worth if we had a Great Depression.
At this point, almost all agree the most irrational decision is allowing the country to default in the first place. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atrell Nishar reporting.
Still ahead this morning, learn how you can get free skate lessons today from a local skateboarder. So much going on down there at Rash Skate Park. We'll tell you about it just ahead. The Preakness right around the corner. Just ahead, the horses that might be a part of this big race. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. All right, Preakness is just around the corner, happening next Saturday. Joining us this morning to discuss everything Preakness, Frank Vespi, the publisher and founder of Racing Vigs. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Taylor. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. So last time we talked, it was right ahead of the 149th Kentucky Derby. Give us a quick recap of what happened.
Well, the Derby last week it's the oldest adage in horse racing, pace makes the race. And what that means is what happens early in the race has a huge impact on who's around at the end. Very fast pace early. That took the starch out of the horses in front. That set it up for a horse running from the back. That horse was Mage, who got the money, and he's coming to Preakness. In fact, he's on the grounds at Pimlico right now.
Oh, wow. So it's really underway. Okay,
yeah,
so
now we're getting serious.
We are getting serious. So Madge is here. Forte was another horse we had our eyes on, not in the race anymore.
He did not run in the Derby. He was a vet scratch that day. We had talked about him, I think, on the show, but he was a vet scratch that day, meaning the state vet thought he was a little bit off in one of his legs, so he said he can't race today. Day. Because of that, he also will not be able to race in the Preakness because if you go on the vets list, you're on it for 2 weeks. And so he will not be able to come off until after May 20. So no Preakness for Forte. But the fourth place finisher from the Derby, Disarm, is coming.
Okay.
So we'll have him.
And so we've got also a Maryland-bred
We've
horse.
got a new horse. We just learned about this horse yesterday, a horse named Coffee with Chris. He was bred here in Maryland. He's based here in Maryland at Laurel Park, and he's coming to the Preakness. He's going to be a long shot, but if you like a long shot, he might be a fun one to have. He's a horse that's going to be towards the front of the race early. And we'll see where he is at the end.
Okay, Coffee with Chris. I love the name.
Oh, it's a great
got a little
name.
caffeine to it.
Yeah, exactly. He should have a little zip, right?
Yeah. So give us more details about what we can expect with this race this upcoming Saturday. The tours.
Oh, yeah, the tours are a lot of fun. Sunrise at Old Hilltop, that's taking place Tuesday through Friday. They're from 6 to 9 in the morning. You go to the Rogers Avenue gate, and they're going to give you, a lot of people who come to Preakness or come to Pimlico, they might like horse racing, but they don't know what the world is like, the world of racing is like. This gets you inside. You'll meet a blacksmith, you might see him shoeing a horse, you'll meet a jockey, you might see the jockey on the Equicizer, which is this like sort of practice horse that they have. So you meet a bunch of people, you'll learn about the history of Pimlico and kind of learn about Pimlico. The history of Pimlico is to a great extent the history of American horse racing. So it's a very cool place. You'll see the murals that Raoul Middleman painted, which are amazing. He was a famous Baltimore artist who passed away recently. They're on the second floor of the grandstand. So it's a really cool opportunity to kind of get up close and personal with a horse and inside the world of racing.
I love that. And Baltimore is such a staple for horse racing. I don't think people realize that, but this is all in our backyard, and we've got such a stake in the history of horse racing here.
Yeah, no, this is the Preakness is named for a horse that won the Dinner Party Stakes, which is one of the oldest stakes in the country, which was sort of the first big race at Pimlico. Governor Bowie, way back in the 1800s, sort of caused the creation of that. And so, all the great horses have come through Pimlico at one point or another, from Seabiscuit and Secretariat and more recently American Pharaoh and others. So if you want to know the history of horse racing in America, Pimlico is one of the places you got to go to.
I love it. So as we look ahead to just 1 week from now and the race starts to shape up, what horses are you keeping your eyes on?
Well, everybody's going to have their eyes on Mage as the Derby winner. I think a couple other horses you're going to want to take a look at. There's a horse named Blazing Sevens. Trainer Chad Brown won the Preakness last year with early voting. Skipped the Derby, came to the Preakness, won the Preakness, doing the exact same thing with Blazing Sevens. Bob Baffert's going to have a horse named National Treasure. I think National Treasure may also be on the grounds now. Baffert has won 7 Preaknesses, most of any trainer. And then Brad Cox has a horse named First Mission. Brad Cox, one of the leading trainers in the country. First Mission won the Lexington Stakes. And this is a horse that's really, really talented, was just a little bit too late developing to get to the Kentucky Derby, but they're kind of excited about him for the Preakness. So those are 3 kind of new shooters you want to keep an eye on. And I mentioned Disarm a minute ago. I think he ran a sneaky good race in the Derby. You might want to take a look at him, too.
Okay. I'm excited. I mean, we got a lot of high stakes players here, a lot of good races, a lot of great trainers. I mean, this is going to be a weekend not to miss.
Yeah, oh no, it's Baltimore's party, and it's a great time. And you got Black Eyed Susan Day, so you got some great fillies coming in for 3-year-old fillies. Plus the Pimlico Special is also on Friday. That's a great historic race, and a bunch of other good races. And then Preakness Day it's Preakness Day. It's the best day of the year here.
And of course, we got you to cover it for us.
I'm here for you. You know that.
There we go. And hopefully we're having some good weather for the Preakness. Let's get over to meteorologist Amy Aronson for an update for us on this Mother's Day weekend and Preakness.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like a new weather maker will be moving in by next weekend. Right now, it does not look like a washout, so don't cancel any Preakness plans. But we are tracking some spotty showers for Black Eyed Susan festivities on Friday, and then for Preakness on Saturday, some scattered showers. Temperatures are great, though, mid-70s both days. If you happen to head out to Preakness, we want to see your pictures. Send them to us, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in. And right now, we are looking at a beautiful start to Mother's Day. We've got some sun breaking through the clouds, 63 to start, 76 to end today. A warm and a dry end to the weekend. Spotty showers show up again by Tuesday, and then another chance for rain by the end of the week and by Preakness. Right now, that weather maker from yesterday has sunk to our south, taking all the rain along with it. Little cloudy this morning, but not bad for a Sunday morning. We are eventually tracking some clouds giving way to some sun this afternoon, so that should be pretty nice for all your Mother's Day plans. Monday stays dry, too, with high pressure in control. Lots of sunshine then and warm temperatures, and then this weather maker comes in. It's not a strong one, but plan on some scattered showers starting up Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening as that passes along with a cold front, and that's going to cool us down briefly by midweek. Today's nice and warm. If your Mother's Day plans take you out to Camden Yards, great day for some baseball. We have sunshine, we have warm temperatures. We'll spend the game in the low to actually mid-70s by the time it wraps up. Monday's also going to be a nice and mild day with highs in the mid-70s. Tuesday, some scattered showers, and then Wednesday, a brief little cool down. We'll take a look at that full 7-day forecast and your Preakness forecast again in just a couple of minutes. Taylor?
Alrighty, a Mother's Day twist on Jake's Day today in honor of a Baltimore skateboarder, Jake Owens, who lost his life in 2011. Professional skateboarder Joey Jett and his mother, Baltimore Inspector General Isabel Mercedes Cumming, joined us here at Fox 45 News yesterday morning. They were so much fun, and they talked about this great cause.
The event tomorrow is just for the kids, and now it's for the moms, and we're basically just inviting all kids in Baltimore. Like, you don't have to be good.
Yeah.
You can be a beginner. We're just welcoming pretty much anyone that wants to pick up a skateboard and just have a good time.
His name was Jake Owens, and he was a little Locust Point boy. So this is a real community event for the community, and just to get everybody knowing that skating saves lives.
Yeah.
It's just such a positive event, and you can do it on your own, and it's wonderful. And that is the most amazing skate park. The community, the diversity, it's just love.
Today's event runs from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Rashfield Park. Joey's going to offer some free lessons, and there's so much happening there today, available on our website and the Watership Frontership website as well. You can find out more info there. A live look now at Camden Yards, where the Orioles will be taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates in their final game of their series today. The O's are looking for a sweep as they won last night's game. It didn't take long for the offense to get going, 2 batters to be exact.